I went to Sunday school and church all of my life. And that was just part of it, you know. And if anybody had asked me, are you a Christian, I would have said, I hope so. And I kept wishing he would quit preaching and give the altar call, because I was ready. And when he did, wham, I was up there. And then I realized that Carolyn was right beside me, and that did it.
That's what Jesus expected of me as time went on.
You had said that you saw a difference in me after I accepted Christ, and you hadn't. But I don't.
And you saw a difference in me after I accepted Christ. So, yeah, we both changed afterwards, but I'm not sure of a dramatic change or anything.
He knew there had been a change in me, and he couldn't quite figure it all out. And we knew that he was going to Vietnam. And then 3 days later, Carolyn went to college for the first time. And that was when the Lord was really close to us. You know, all the time he was in Vietnam and she was gone, and we had this empty nest. Couldn't have done it, couldn't have done it. Couldn't have let them go without Jesus being there with us all the time. And that was a turning point, I guess.
Well, in the first place, God's really, I think, blessed us very much.
I don't know how many missions somebody would always ask Harry, why don't you go into the ministry? And I said, no way. I answered for him. And so I should not have been surprised.
And I remember looking in the mirror as if Christ were talking to me, telling me that I needed to go into the pulpit ministry.
One of the hardest times for me in my Christian walk was when Harry told me that he wanted to go into the ministry. I was so mad at him. I didn't speak to him for 3 days. And I tell everybody that he spent the time in the basement, and I would throw him a piece of bologna every once in a while. I was just that mad at him.
And the bishop's wife just smiled and said, I know exactly how you feel. I felt the same way. And I think, you know, that was confirmation that things were good. If the bishop's wife had the same problem that Shirley had, well, that's pretty good, you know.
He said, I just want 5 years. Just let me preach for 5 years. That's all I want. So we did that. I think that was probably the happiest time of his life, because he really enjoyed being a minister.
Her big statement was, well, you know, I'm just not cut out to be a minister's wife. But knowing ministers' wives, I think she was one of the greatest.
Harry and I met when we were both students at Emporia State Teachers College. That's what it was called at that time. I started out in OCW down at Chickasha, and then I transferred the middle of my second year because I didn't like OCW.
One of the things that I always tell them, well, there's one thing about it, if you get married on February the 29th, you won't forget the date.
Dad and I were standing in the back of the church and getting ready to come down the aisle. And he had tears in his eyes, but he leaned over and he said, he said, if you hurry up, I can be a grandpa by Christmas time. Now, this was the last day of February. 9 months and 17 days later, Don was born. And Harry was still in college. What took you so long? We really considered the last picture being a picture of our gravestone, which has been set.
I tried to document it, I think.
Well, that would be the